My sister took every man I loved, so I set her up with a guy who ruined her world. My sister Mia took every man I ever loved. For years, I watched her charm them away one by one until I decided to give her exactly what she wanted, a man who would ruin her world. My name is Ava Thompson, and this is the story of how I got there. Growing up in Round Rock, Texas, a quiet suburb just north of Austin, Mia and I were always compared. Mom would say Mia got her big hazel eyes and perfect cheekbones, the kind that made strangers stop her at H-E-B to say she should model. I got Dad's quick wit and knack for sketching, which landed me a job as a freelance graphic designer after college. I love my work, creating logos for local Austin startups, sitting at my cluttered desk in my one-bedroom apartment off Burnett Road, surrounded by coffee mugs and Post-it notes with deadlines. But no matter how many clients praised my designs, I always felt like I was living in Mia's shadow. At 25, she was an Instagram influencer with 50,000 followers, posting about skincare routines in local boutiques, earning enough from sponsorships to afford a sleek condo downtown. I'd scroll through her posts sometimes, feeling a mix of pride and resentment. She was my little sister, but she always seemed to get what I wanted most. It started when we were kids, but not with toys or clothes. Those I could share. It was the men I cared about. I didn't see it at first because I trusted her. Mia was my sister, the one who'd sneak into my room to borrow my glitter pens or cry on my shoulder when her high school friends ditched her. She had this way of making you feel special, like you were her whole world when she needed you. But when it came to my boyfriends, that charm turned into something else, something I didn't understand until it was too late. I remember the first time it stung. I was 16, head over heels for Caleb, a lanky junior who played wide receiver for Round Rock High School. We'd spend Friday nights cheering at Dragons games under the stadium lights, sharing nachos from the concession stand. I thought he was my first love. Then Mia, barely 14 but already turning heads in her cheerleader skirt, started hanging around us. She'd ask Caleb to explain football plays, batting her eyes like she didn't understand. I didn't think much of it. She was just a kid, right? But by homecoming, I caught them kissing behind the bleachers. My stomach dropped, and I ran home, locking myself in my room. Mia apologized later, tears streaming, saying she didn't mean it. I forgave her because I wanted to believe her. I loved her. But looking back, that was the first crack in my heart. Mom didn't help. At our family's Sunday barbecues, big spreads of brisket and potato salad in our backyard on Cedar Ridge Drive, she'd pull me aside and whisper, "Ava, stop bringing boys around Mia. She's young, she can't help herself when they're right there." It hurt, like I was the one tempting her to misbehave. Dad just stayed quiet, flipping burgers on the grill, muttering about sister stuff he didn't want to touch. I wanted to scream that I wasn't doing anything wrong, just trying to find someone to love. But I swallowed it, thinking things would get better as we got older. They didn't. I'm 28 now, and the pattern hasn't changed. Mia's not a kid anymore, but she still takes what's mine. Part of me wants to hate her, but another part remembers the sister who'd braid my hair or laugh with me over dumb reality shows. It's confusing, loving someone who hurts you over and over. I kept hoping I could find a way to keep a man out of her reach, to build something real. But every time I tried, Mia was there, waiting to unravel it. As we got older, the stealing got worse. It was not just high school crushes anymore. By the time we were in our 20s, Mia's tactics felt sharper, more deliberate. I tried to tell myself it was coincidence or bad luck, but deep down, I knew better. Each time it happened, I felt a little more broken, but I also felt guilty for being angry at her. She was family after all. How could I stay mad at someone who shared my childhood secrets? Take college, for example. I was studying graphic design at the University of Texas at Austin, living in a cramped apartment in West Campus with creaky wooden floors and posters of local bands on the walls. I met Lucas in my digital illustration class. He was a business major with a goofy smile and a habit of doodling on his notebooks during lectures. We started dating casually, grabbing tacos from Torchy's on Guadalupe Street after class. Those dates were simple, just us talking about our dreams over queso and chips. I thought he was different. One night, I invited him over to study for finals. My apartment was a mess of sketchbooks and empty coffee cups from nearby spots like Spider House Cafe. Mia showed up unannounced, saying she needed a place to crash because her dorm roommate was fighting with her boyfriend. She was 19 then, full of energy, always posting stories from 6th Street bars. Lucas offered to help her with her econ homework, and I did not mind at first. But by the end of the week, I found flirty texts on his phone, Mia asking him to meet her for coffee without me. When I confronted her, she tilted her head and said, "Ava, I was just bored. He came on to me first." Lucas broke up with me the next day, saying he felt a spark with her. I cried in my room for hours, feeling stupid for trusting them. Mom called it a phase, but I wondered if Mia enjoyed the thrill of taking what was mine. She had her own dates, guys sliding into her DMs all the time, but she always went for mine. Maybe it made her feel powerful, or maybe she was insecure under all that confidence. I never asked. Then there was Owen a few years later. I was 25, building my freelance career from a co-working space in East Austin, surrounded by exposed brick walls and the hum of other creatives typing away. Owen was a musician I met at a show at Mohawk, one of those outdoor venues where the crowd sways to indie bands under string lights. He played guitar in a local group, and we bonded over Austin's music scene, talking about festivals like ACL and how the city felt alive with sound. We dated for a year, keeping things low-key with picnics at Auditorium Shores or beers at Rainy Street bars. I finally brought him to a family gathering during South by Southwest. SXSW is huge here. Streets packed with tech folks, musicians, and film buffs from all over. We went to a showcase downtown, the air buzzing with energy and the smell of food trucks. Mia was there, of course, networking for her influencer gigs. She bumped into Owen at a panel, then texted him later about a fake emergency. Her car supposedly broke down near the convention center. He went to help, and that was it. I discovered their messages a week later, full of inside jokes. When I asked Mia why, she shrugged and said, "He was not right for you, sis. I saw it coming." But her eyes had this gleam, like she was proud of herself. It made me question if she did it out of jealousy or just habit. Owen posted pictures with her on Instagram soon after, and I unfollowed them both. My heart ached, but I also felt relieved in a weird way, like dodging a bullet. Still, the betrayal lingered. Each time, Mom sided with Mia. "You know how she is, Ava. She does not mean harm, she's just outgoing." Dad would nod from his recliner in the living room, watching Longhorns games on TV, not wanting to pick sides. I started wondering if I was the problem, if I picked guys who were too easily swayed. But no, it was always Mia in the middle. She had this mix of sweetness and sharpness, helping me with outfit advice one day, then undermining me the next. I loved her for the good parts, but the hurt built up, making me wary of letting anyone close. After Owen, I promised myself I would be smarter. No more introducing guys to the family too soon. No more sharing details with Mia. I threw myself into work designing branding for Austin tech companies from my home office, a sunny corner of my apartment with a view of the neighborhood trees and the distant hum of traffic on Burnett Road. It helped distract me, but loneliness crept in. Then I met Ethan. It happened at a casual picnic in Zilker Park, organized by my best friend Hannah. Zilker is that big green space in the heart of Austin, where people jog along the trails, play frisbee, or just lounge under the oaks. Hannah, who works in marketing downtown, invited a bunch of us for a relaxed afternoon with sandwiches and games. Ethan was her co-worker's friend, a software engineer at Dell Technologies out in Round Rock. He had this easy laugh and a habit of pushing his glasses up his nose when he got excited about something, like explaining how code could solve real-world problems. We hit it off talking about Austin's quirky side, like the bats under Congress Bridge or the food trucks on South First. For the first time in years, I felt hopeful. Ethan was kind, steady, the type who remembered small things, like bringing me my favorite iced latte from a local spot near his office. We dated quietly for 9 months, driving out to Barton Springs for swims on hot days. The natural pool there is always cold and refreshing, fed by underground springs. Or we'd grab dinner at Uchi, this sushi place on South Lamar where the dim lighting and fresh fish make everything feel special. A meal for two usually ran about $100, but it was worth it for the quiet conversations. I kept him completely separate from my family, no mentions to mom or dad, no posts on social media. I even avoided group hangs where Mia might show up. It was exhausting sometimes, sneaking around like that, but I thought it was worth it to protect what we had. Ethan talked about the future with such certainty, maybe getting a place together someday, exploring hill country hikes. I started believing I could have something real. But then Hannah slipped up. During a phone call with Mom, she mentioned Ethan in passing, excited about how happy I seemed. Mom, being Mom, told Mia right away. Mia's influencer skills kicked in. She tracked him down through his LinkedIn profile, seeing he worked at Dell and piecing together details from Hannah's vague description. I found out the hard way. I had a key to Ethan's apartment, a modern one-bedroom near Lady Bird Lake, with bike trails outside and a balcony overlooking the water. I let myself in one evening, planning to surprise him with takeout from Torchy's. The living room was tidy as always, with his coding books stacked on the coffee table. But when I walked into the bedroom, there they were. Mia and Ethan, tangled in the sheets. My heart stopped. Mia sat up, not even covering herself, and said, "Ava, I was just testing him for you. He's not as strong as he seems." Ethan just shrugged, looking awkward but not sorry, mumbling something about how Mia was too hard to resist. I stood there shaking, feeling rage and humiliation wash over me in waves. Part of me wanted to yell, to throw things, but another part felt numb, like I should have seen it coming. Mia gathered her clothes with that same casual grace, like it was no big deal, but in her eyes I saw a flicker, maybe guilt or maybe satisfaction. She had always been the one who needed attention, ever since Dad favored my achievements growing up. Perhaps taking my guys made her feel like she was winning something back. I do not know. All I knew was that this was the last time. Driving home along I-35, the highway lights blurring through my tears, I made a decision. Mia craved men who made her feel special, the ones she could steal without looking deeper. Fine. I would give her one she could not walk away from unscathed. That drive home gave me time to think, and by the time I pulled into my apartment's parking lot, the idea had taken shape. Mia always went for the handsome, charming types, the ones who looked successful on the surface but never got vetted beyond that. She thrived on the chase, on feeling like she had won. But what if I handed her one who would turn the tables? It felt wrong at first, this cold planning, but the anger pushed me forward. I loved her still, in that complicated sister way, but I was tired of being the one who lost. The next few weeks, I dove into research from my desk at home. My apartment was my sanctuary, bookshelves lined with design books and a comfy chair by the window where I could watch the neighborhood kids play. I spent evenings scrolling Reddit threads about bad relationships and public record sites, sipping tea to calm my nerves. That is how I found Tyler Brooks. His LinkedIn profile popped up first. He claimed to be a tech startup founder in Silicon Hills, Austin's growing tech area out near the suburbs. His photo showed a sharp-jawed guy in a button-down, smiling like he owned the world. But digging deeper into court databases revealed the truth. Tyler had a history of financial schemes, like promising high returns on investments that never paid out. He was under investigation by the Texas Attorney General for complaints from ex-partners about emotional manipulation and draining their accounts. There were even restraining orders from 2 women, filed under Texas family law to keep him away after reports of controlling behavior. It was all public record, easy to find if you looked. I felt a pang of guilt reading it. Was I really going to unleash this on my sister? But then I remembered Ethan's shrug, and the guilt faded. To make contact, I created a fake LinkedIn profile as a potential investor interested in Austin's tech scene. We met at Joe's Coffee on South Congress Avenue, a popular spot with outdoor seating and the constant buzz of locals grabbing lattes and breakfast tacos. South Congress is eclectic. Vintage shops, murals, and that big "I love you so much" graffiti wall where tourists snap photos. I sat across from Tyler playing the part of a heartbroken older sister. I showed him Mia's Instagram, gushing about how she always ended up with my boyfriends because she was so beautiful and outgoing. "I just feel invisible next to her," I said, letting my voice crack a little. It was not all acting. The words hurt because they were true. Tyler's eyes lit up, but not in a kind way, more like he saw an opportunity. He had this smooth talk complimenting my designs and saying any guy who left me was a fool, but I could see the calculation behind it, the way he leaned in just enough to seem interested. We started dating right after that. It was all part of the plan, but pretending wore on me. He'd take me to dinners at the Driscoll Hotel's bar downtown, an old historic place with chandeliers and leather booths where business folks mingle. A meal there, steaks and wine, usually cost around $150, which he paid for at first to impress me. He bought me small gifts, like flowers from the local market for about $50, or a weekend drive to the hill country for hiking, which ran maybe $300 with gas and a bed and breakfast stay. I spent about $500 of my own money on outfits and Ubers for these dates, dipping into my freelance savings, but I saw it as an investment in ending the cycle. Tyler love-bombed me hard, constant texts, promises of a future, but I knew it was fake. He was building trust to manipulate. Meanwhile, I fed him stories about Mia, hinting at her history of stealing my guys. "I want to keep you secret from her," I told him. "She cannot resist." After a month, I invited him to a family barbecue in Round Rock. Our parents' backyard was the usual setup: picnic tables under the oaks, Dad grilling ribs, the smell of smoke mixing with Austin's humid air. I knew Mia would be there, scrolling her phone between bites. Tyler thought he was playing me, but he had no idea I was the one setting the stage. At the barbecue, everything went as I expected. Tyler played his part well, chatting with Dad about tech trends while ignoring Mia at first. The backyard was full of the usual: smoke from the grill, kids running around, and Mom's potato salad that everyone pretended to love. Mia could not stand being overlooked. She started touching his arm, laughing too loud at his jokes, whispering things only he could hear. I excused myself to the bathroom, peeking through the door as she slipped him her number. When I came back and caught them, I threw my iced tea in his face and stormed out, tears streaming for show. It was dramatic, but it worked. Mia called me that night, her voice all concern. "Tyler hit on me, Ava, but something feels off about him. You are better off." I knew she was already hooked. Within days, her Instagram stories showed her at his luxury condo in downtown Austin, a high-rise with sleek finishes and views of the city skyline. Those places rent for around $3,200 a month, easy for someone like Tyler to afford on the surface. She fell fast, posting about their dates at trendy spots like Perla's on South Congress. By the end of the week, she was head over heels, and within a month, she'd moved in, giving him access to her bank accounts for what he called shared expenses. I watched from afar, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and worry. Mia had built up about $20,000 in savings over the last few years from her influencer work. Brand deals for makeup and clothes, earning around $50,000 a year with her follower count. It was not a fortune, but it was hers, tucked away in a high-yield savings account like many young professionals do these days. Tyler convinced her to invest it all in his startup, promising big returns on some tech app he was pitching. She thought it was a smart move, the kind of thing Austin entrepreneurs talk about at networking events. The cracks showed up about 6 weeks later. A lawyer for one of Tyler's exes contacted her, saying he had hidden assets in his divorce, and now Mia might be tangled in it. She called me, voice shaky. They say I could get sued, but Tyler swears it's just his bitter ex. I made sympathetic sounds, but inside, I knew more was coming. Then the Securities and Exchange Commission stepped in. They froze his operation through a civil lawsuit, claiming it was a Ponzi scheme, paying early investors with new money, which is illegal under federal securities laws. Mia's $20,000 vanished overnight when the assets were seized. She confronted him, and that is when Tyler turned nasty. He grabbed her arm hard enough to bruise, then locked her in the bedroom while he yelled about how she did not appreciate him. Mia escaped the next day, but when she checked her accounts, it was worse. Tyler had used her personal info to open credit cards and take out loans in her name. 4 cards maxed out at about $10,000 each, plus a personal loan for another $10,000, totaling $50,000 in debt. That kind of identity theft happens more than people think. The average loss per victim is around $1,000, but in bad cases like this, with unchecked access, it piles up fast from interest and fees. Mia had no idea until the bills came. The final hit came early one morning when FBI agents raided the condo. They found documents with Mia's signature, stuff Tyler had her sign without explaining, making her look like an accomplice to the fraud. Under federal law, even if you are unwitting, signing those can make you liable as an accessory. She called me from Travis County Jail, sobbing. "Ava, please, they think I helped him. I know I hurt you, but I need bail." I listened to the voicemail twice, my heart twisting. Part of me wanted to help. She was my sister, scared and alone. But the anger won, and I deleted it. Local news on KXAN picked it up. A woman arrested in a multi-million-dollar fraud ring. Mom called right after, hysterical. "You knew about him, did you not? How could you let this happen?" I did not answer, because admitting it felt too heavy. Had I gone too far? The satisfaction was there, but so was the guilt gnawing at me. Mia ended up pleading guilty to lesser charges, like being an accessory after the fact, in exchange for testifying against Tyler. The lawyers explained it simply. Since she signed those papers without knowing they were fake, she was not the main culprit, but she still had some responsibility under the law. She got 6 months in a minimum security facility, the kind where non-violent offenders serve time with classes and work programs. It was not harsh, like you see on TV, but it changed her. When she got out, she had a felony record, which made finding work tough, and that $50,000 in debt hung over her like a cloud. Credit reports show that stuff for 7 years, and rebuilding takes time, paying minimums on cards while scraping by. She moved to Portland, Oregon to start fresh, working as a barista at a coffee shop, earning about $15 an hour plus tips. Her Instagram looks different now. Fewer glamour shots, more quiet posts about rainy days and simple joys. She seems older, more guarded, like the spark that drove her to take what she wanted is dimmed. We have not talked in over a year, but I check in sometimes. Part of me misses the sister who could make me laugh, but another part feels relieved. The family shifted too. Mom cannot look at me the same. She is torn between anger at what I did and understanding why. "You could have warned her," she said once, over coffee at our old kitchen table in Round Rock, the one scratched from years of family meals. Dad just shakes his head, saying things like, "Actions have consequences," while tinkering in the garage. Our gatherings are quieter now, no more big barbecues. As for me, I started therapy about a year ago, seeing a counselor in Austin whose office is in a converted house off South Congress, with plants and soft lighting. Sessions cost around $150 each, but my insurance covers most, and it helps unpack the mess. I feel empty where the anger used to be. Not triumphant, just hollow. Revenge sounded good in the moment, but it left scars on all of us. Still, I sleep better, knowing Mia probably will not hurt another woman, like she hurt me. Some lessons stick only after everything falls apart. She got the man she could not resist, and he gave her a hard truth. I wonder if I would do it again. Maybe not. But in the quiet of my apartment, sketching late at night, I am finally building a life that is mine.